A blessed good morning and welcome to NewsNet. 45 minutes of news about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. Today is the 28th of May and I'm Olive Stevenson anchoring this edition. This newscast is relayed on the Voice of Hope in Plebo, Maryland County. In our headlines, President Wias dismisses rumors that he purchased $30 million jet. Says the plane in question belongs to his Burkinabe friend. 18,000 United States dollars withdrawn from Riverside County Development Fund to support Joseph Boakai campaign. Former Superintendent Matthew Daniels reveals. Popular Nigerian preacher Apostle Suleiman reveals in a prophecy that beginning October 2018, Liberia's finances will rise again. And away from Liberia, at least 22 people, including 3 children, have been killed in a bus crash in northern Uganda, police said. Our top stories, the news bulletin, the actual voices of those making the news, including foreign developments, are all packaged in this edition. We're taking a very quick break to be right back. Welcome back to NewsNet. Up next is the Bulletin of News and Augustine. Kollie, good morning, Augustine.
Good morning, Olive. Good morning, everyone. President George Weah has dispelled growing criticisms and public insinuations concerning the reported purchase of a private jet by the government. The president said claims that a plane has been bought by the government are far from reality, as the government has greater priorities to better the lives of the Liberian people than to commit $30 million United States dollars to purchase a private jet. The clarification was made during the weekend at the Foreign Ministry when he presented 2 buses to the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs for use by employees. According to the president, buying plane for the country will not be a bad idea, but such plane will be for commercial purposes to commute Liberians from one point to another. He reminded Liberians that he is a celebrity who has so many friends that are willing to help him in whatever way they can, adding that when someone decides to help him should not be an issue, as in the case of the private jet. The president said the plane talked about belongs to a friend who is the manager of a company in Burkina Faso, but has asked him to use it whenever he needs it. In recent time, there has been public outcry on various media outlets concerning the alleged purchase of a private jet, with men taken to social media to emit invectives. The Liberian leader noted that he and others of his generation would not be blamed for the country's woes, but added that his overwhelming concern is to fix the problems of the country. Former Riverside County Superintendent Matthew Daniels has broken silence on the status of the County Development Fund, alleging that portion of the money was used on the campaign of former Vice President Joseph Boakai. According to Superintendent Daniels, members of the county's legislative caucus, including local authorities, unanimously agreed that 18,000 United States dollars be withdrawn from the county's account to form the former vice president's campaign. He said it was agreed that the money will be refunded had Joseph Boakai won the election. The former local official added that the amount was taken from the county's account without a resolution, an act which contravenes the public financial law of the country. He made the statement on a local radio station in the county, though on the weekend. The Chester City Magisterial Court in Rivers County has denied a motion to dismiss a trial of criminal coercion involving journalists of Echo Radio. Recently, sheriffs representing the Chester City Magisterial Court served a writ of arrest on journalists Opa Duo Saturday Judo and Stanley Wewu for criminal coercion for alleged defamation against an individual identified by the court as private prosecutor Victor Wilson. Mr. Eric Opaduo, Saturday Judo and Stanley Wewu are all employees of Echo Radio of Yapa Town in Rivers County. Lawyers representing the defendants, Councillor Paul Javin and William Moore Johnson's motion for dismissal was argued that the court's writ of arrest contained the wrong form of action since there were no elements of force or compulsion to constitute criminal coercion in the allegation brought against the journalists. The defense counsels asserted that what was presented in the charge against the reporters amounts to an action in defamation and not criminal coercion. Associate Magistrate April Yongwe denied the motion, stating that there were key elements of criminal coercion which were clear and could be answered affirmatively. He cited Section 14.4 of the criminal law, which states a complaint made orally to a magistrate or justice of the peace shall be reduced to written on the face of the writ by the clerk of court, or if there is no clerk, by the magistrate or justice. The defense counsel noted the exceptions to the ruling of the magistrate and announced in open court that they will take advantage of the appeal statute as required by law. According to the rate of arrest, the three journalists allegedly broadcasts internationally, criminally and maliciously. The former representative of the 51st Legislature of Rivers County, Victor Wilson, was involved in the sale of an earth-moving equipment that belongs to the people of Rivers, which caused harm to his person and character. Meanwhile, the trial is set to continue on Monday, June 4, 2018, a schedule sought by the prosecution. The Press Union of Liberia says it is meticulously monitoring the wide criminal coercion court action against journalists Eric Opaduo, Saturday Judo and Stanley Rew of Echo Radio in Rivers County. The union says it sees the court's action against members of the journalism community in Liberia as the commencement of a ploy to intimidate journalists in the south-central region of Liberia through a difficult legal form of action. It is unacceptable that the rights of journalists and media workers are continuously being violated through different court actions, the union stresses. A popular Nigerian clergyman, Apostle Johnson Suleiman, has prophesied that beginning October of this year, Liberia's finances will rise again. According to Apostle Suleiman, God has shown him a bigger Liberian currency than the United States dollars. While administering the gospel in Liberia during the weekend, the Nigerian prophet stated that God has planned to connect Liberia to the Queen of England, adding that diaspora Liberians will shortly be returning home as a result of God's deliverance for the nation. He then called on citizens of the country to remain prayerful for God's glory to continuously prevail over evil individuals that are holding the progress of the country and its people. The Nigerian prophet was preaching during a crusade held at the Anthony Totman Studios over the weekend. Apostle Johnson Suleiman is the president and general overseer of the International Omega Fire Ministry, a church that was founded by Pastor Suleiman in 2004. Reports say a few years back, Apostle Suleiman prophesied that a soccer player would one day become president of Liberia. The Inspector General of the Ministry of Commerce, Josephine Davids, has warned business operators in Liberia to exhibit fairness at all times. Madam Davids told OKFM News over the weekend, following the station's health walk at the SKD, that while it is true that they must accumulate profit, the consumers' lives should not be at risk. She boasted of achieving in the last 4 months at least 60% cooperation from business apparatus, a mandate to protect the lives of consumers. According to her, the ministry will not relent until it reaches 100% in weeding out harmful practices from business community. The Commerce Inspector General added that given the health status in the country, consumable products on the market should be monitored thoroughly. A senatorial aspirant of Montserrat County, Mark Keshen, has challenged the national government to stop appropriating money to local administrators based on friendship. Aspirant Keshen added that funding should be appropriated at equilibrium. The Montserrat senatorial aspirant, who declined to disclose the names of any local administrator who receives more allotment than others, complained of this situation. He added that allocation should also be based on the revenue generation of a particular administrator to national government. Mark Keshen made the disclosure to OKFM over the weekend at the end of the station's health walk in Painesville. At the same time, the Montserrat County senatorial aspirant has alarmed over division in the county legislative caucus at the detriment of its citizens. Keshen alleged that members of the caucus are divided and do not collaborate while undertaking developmental projects at districts' boundaries for self-promotion. The general manager of Group Indom radio stations, Mark Fugger, has termed regular exercises as the sorest way to prolong existence of humans. Fugger made a comment Saturday at the end of an OKFM health walk from City Hall to the Samuel Kayando Sports Complex in Painesville City. According to him, regular exercises help build the human body in order to tackle illnesses. Mark, who lauded the public for the massive turnout, encouraged them not to desist from regular exercising. He maintained that by doing so, Liberia can have a healthy nation and a people. In a related development, Prime FM News Director Jutunu Kollie has encouraged his fellow media colleagues to apportion their time to exercise. Journalist Kollie, who boasted of regular exercise, and added that it is helpful to keep the body active amidst the lapses in controlling one's diet. And the National Custom Brokers Association of Liberia has advanced a 7-count recommendations to President Weah's tariff reduction on basic commodities in the country. The group's recommendation, among other things, called for the cancellation of additional surcharges on local commodities like flour, sugar, and soft drinks. The Custom Brokers Association also noted that the administrative regulation number 1.17-1, which was introduced by the Ministry of Finance in the late 2017, places 35% duty rates on commodities imported in the country, thereby undermining the common extended tariff. Now, the recommendation comes barely days after the chief executive authorized the LRA to present a new schedule that will reduce tariff and basic commodities in the country. Addressing a news conference over the weekend, the vice president of the association, James Heine, said though President Weah's action is a drive to stimulate economic growth, but stressed that it requires technical processes. He wants the Liberian leader to suspend Section 1705 of the Revenue Code of 2011 so that the Liberia Revenue Authority method of evaluation is in line with the World Trade Organization standard, which takes into account the market values. He added that pre-shipment inspection and the use of BVAC in performing the job of customs is abolished, a situation, he said, if considered, will boost job opportunities and create additional revenue collection by 1.2%. Those were stories contained in the news bulletin.
We would like to say many thanks to you, Augustine Kollie, for filling us in with the latest from our news centered. Well, if you're just tuning in, the program you're listening to is Newsnet on OKFM 99.5. Stories we following this morning. President Weah dismisses rumors that he purchased $30 million jet, says the plane in question belongs to his Burkinabe friend. 18,000 United States dollars withdrawn from Riverside County Development Fund to support Joseph Walker campaign, former Superintendent Matthew Daniels reveals. Popular Nigerian preacher Apostle Suleiman reveals in a prophecy that beginning October 2018, Liberia's finances will rise again. And away from Liberia, at least 22 people, including 3 children, have been killed in a bus crash in northern Uganda, police said. With that, we take our first development. President George Weah has dispelled growing criticism and public insinuations concerning the reported purchase of a private jet by the government. The president said claims that a plane has been bought by the government are far from reality, as the government has greater priorities to better the lives of Liberians than to commit $30 million United States dollars to purchase a private jet. The clarification was made during the weekend at the Foreign Ministry when he presented 2 buses to the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs for use by employees. President George Weah there dispelling growing criticism and public insinuations concerning the reported purchase of a private jet by government. Former Riverside Superintendent Matthew Zoga Daniels has broken silence on the status of the County Development Fund, alleging that portion of the money was used on the campaign of former Vice President Joseph Walker. According to the superintendent, members of the county's legislative caucus, including local authorities, unanimously agreed that the 18,000 United States dollars be withdrawn from the county's account to fund the former vice president's campaign. He made a statement on a local radio station in the county during the weekend.
All the cheat, all the money came from Liberia. They said that we should give plus. We gave it because the letter are there, the Coco Sally. And the Coco say they represent the Rosen people. And so that's 80,000 more for the money that was not all resolution, but we all agree. So we'll find the men we're going to get all our money for that, so let's do this, they agree.
Former Riverside Superintendent Matthew Zoka Daniels. A popular Nigerian clergyman, Apostle Johnson Suleiman, has prophesied that beginning October of this year, Liberia's finances will rise again. According to Apostle Suleiman, God has shown him a bigger Liberia currency than the United States dollars. While administering the gospel in Liberia during the weekend, the Nigerian prophet stated that God has planned to connect Liberia to the Queen of England, adding that diaspora Liberians will shortly be returning home as a result of God's deliverance for the nation. He's a popular Nigerian clergyman, Apostle Johnson Suleiman. The Inspector General of the Ministry of Commerce, Josephine Davis, has warned business operations in Liberia to exhibit fairness at all times. Madam David told OKFM News over the weekend following the station's health walk at the SKD that while it is true that they must accumulate profit, the consumers' lives should not be at risk. She boasted of achieving in the last 4 months at least 60% cooperation from business operators, a mandate to protect the lives of consumers.
As time goes by, we will make progress, make sure that the commodity drop. The president has finished giving a mandate, so definitely we will execute that. If you look at 100%, you can say 60 responding, the 40, we just need to encourage. And like we said, we are not against the business people. We are between the business people and the consumer. So definitely, we always encouraging the business people to do fair business practice, because if you look at our environment and you look at our health system, it's not strong. So if you will give the people bad food to eat, definitely you put in too much stress on, you put stress on the government, and if the people get sick, the president is trying his best to make sure that every facility that is owned by government be up to the standard. So definitely you as a business person, it's necessary that you do good business practice, because you know that the food you eat is very important to the body. So once you know the food is contaminated, what you need to do is to take it from on the market, but not to give it to the Liberian people and our international partners, because giving the food to them, it will make people get sick, it will cause people. Right now, as I speak, there are a lot of people coming down with cancer. On the earth, we will tell you, expired product now is eating our fabric, so definitely we have to get rid of it. So we encouraging them. There are a lot of businesses like the rice importers, supermarkets, other businesses are responding, informing us about the unwholesome product. But they got the bad ones who will still want to do bad businesses. So definitely when we warn you and tell you, look, what you are doing is not okay, and you keep on, we expose it to the public.
Inspector General of the Ministry of Commerce, Josephine Davis. Let's now take some of your text reaction coming into our Facebook page. This one says, "Good morning, OKFM, and good morning to the peace-loving people of Liberia. I'm George Xavier Nambwe, and I write from the most representative district in Montserrado County, District 11. OKFM, let this be made clear that President William is on record being unreal to Liberians. Whenever he used the country's resources on non-priority, he claims that either it was his own fund or an unknown friend gave him a gift. Our president continuing with this posture, we stand to benefit nothing as a nation after 6 years. Private jet is far from being a priority in Liberia. As it relates to other issues, I think in my mind, the people are riding on us because our president is gullible. He buys everything that is brought to him. The prophets these days are money seekers. They will tell you what you want to hear, but we are aware of the end time prophecies. Let this be made clear that our country's problem will not be resolved through magic, but rather through honesty and nationalism. To conclude, let me use this medium to inform President Weah that Liberia is all we have and would not allow it to be traded for anything else. Trust me, OKFM, the motherland would never fall. George Xavier Namwe of Banville writes. And this one says, good morning, OK Newsnet. The president's clarification on the claims of purchasing a private jet plane is welcoming, but it is the particular person owning the plane, a ghost, that his name cannot be mentioned. I don't really understand this. As for the pastor, if his saying comes true, it's commendable because we are tired of the high escalation of our local commodities. From the New Georgia residents, and he is Ahmed Kalasco Costa Sisi. This one says, good morning, OKFM. And good morning to the good sons and daughters of Soniwan community and Liberian across the country. President Weah is noted of being very unrealistic to Liberians. OKFM, when President Weah took money from the central bank covers, he told the Liberian people that the trip done to Senegal, France, and Morocco was facilitated by his Senegalese counterpart. OKFM, this president is very insincere, and as such, he needs to rescue himself from the presidency. To be bold, George Weah came to power in order to loot the state's cover. Trust me, in short, President Weah is the original owner of that private jet. OKFM Superintendent Daniels of River G County can find another way for President Weah to love him. Trust me, there was no money taken from River G covers to support Vice President Joseph Yuma Boka campaign team. Again, let Superintendent Daniel of River G County find something to say rather than calling the name of Liberia's most clean politician, Joseph Boka, and he's James N. Fala Senior, former representative candidate of District Number 8, Mansourado County. This one says, good morning, OKFM and the peace-loving people of Panther District, Bon County. Let me tell those guys that parading on the local media and on the social media, propagating lies that our God-sent president has bought a plane to desist from this kind of misleading act. Thank Mr. President for your farsightedness to clarify that you have not bought a plane, but rather you was told to use it whenever you wish to do so. We say bravo to our friend for his kind gesture. May he continue to assess you bigger and bigger things. God will punish JMB and his likes for misusing our resources. They are white-collared criminals. Let the law take its course. Whosoever that is involved in that barbaric, uncivilized deception and inhumane act should bear the full weight of the organic law of the Republic of Liberia. This one is from Joseph N.K. Kollie. Let's now bring you this development. A senatorial aspirant of Mansourado County, Mark Kishen, has challenged national government to stop appropriating money to local administrators based on friendship. Aspirant Kishen added that funding should be appropriated at equilibrium. The Mansourado senatorial aspirant, who declined disclosing names of any local administrator who receive more allotment than others complain of the situation. Mike Kishen made a disclosure to OKFM over the weekend at the end of the station's health walk in Painesville.
But I noticed that people overlook the function of the superintendent in Montserrado County. It's just a mere position because a superintendent is one of the administrators of the county. After the superintendent, you have a mayor. The mayors of each city within the county are the second primary administrators of the cities and the places. But these people only function at a certain rate based on certain connections. Like for example, I'm in the city of Virginia. If I tell you that in the state of Virginia, we don't even have anything there, anything substantial of anything that we can show for our people to benefit. So I'm very serious and concerned about that. Now, state of Monrovia is state of Monrovia, but the state of Monrovia is not Montserrado. There are other cities. In fact, the largest city in Montserrado is Painesville City. You need to put more emphasis. Do not give a particular city based on what his connection or her connection is with the central government, but give it on a square, fair basis on what is your city bringing to central government as an input. That's exactly what you will get. So if you are city mayor and you partake seriously to manage your city and you can generate that revenue, that possibility, that opportunity to the people's satisfaction, so central government should help you in that way. But if the city mayor is just depending on central government because he or she is a friend or whatever connection with central government, that is unfair play. Because
Senatorial aspirant of Montserrado County, Mark Kishen. At the same time, the Montserrado County senatorial aspirant has alarmed over division in the county legislative caucus at the detriment of its citizens. Kishen alleged that members of the caucus are divided and do not collaborate while undertaking developmental projects at the district boundaries of self-promotion.
Montserrado, for example, comprises of 19 legislative persons, and if 700 or 400,000 people can vote anyone of in the office, I don't see the reason why we cannot unite 17, 19 persons under a banner of saying Montserrado first, and security for Montserrado is our first primary factors, and these are the various possibility of security. There's a lot of disunity among the legislators, particularly the representatives. Some of these districts are close, but if I tell you that the interaction is not what you expect, because there are districts just next door, they affect each other, but the reality of development is each and every person trying to possess it as I brought it. I don't believe in I believe in we, and that's my whole idea. I'm different. I'm a peacemaker. I'm the guy who absorbs negative and turn it into positive.
Mike Kishen is a senatorial aspirant of Montserrado County. The general manager of Gubindum radio stations, Max Fugar, has termed regular exercising as a shower's way to prolong existence of humans. Fugar made the comment Saturday at the end of an OKFM health walk from City Hall to SKD Sports Complex in Painesville. According to him, regular exercises help build the human body in order to tackle illnesses.
I think it's a very good exercise. It's virtually about a 12-kilometer walk. We just checked. I'm very impressed with the turnouts. And for me, your health is your life. And so if you walk, you become healthy, and you have a longer life. For me, this is not going to be a 9-day wonder. I will encourage the OKFM team to make sure that it becomes a regular fixture on their calendar. At least maybe a quarter will be good, if not once a month. And so good show. We encourage everybody to get ready for the next edition, which will be bigger and better than this one.
How is it going to help those who have come today?
Health is life. If you're not healthy, you can't have life. And walking is a very, very good exercise that helps to prolong our lifespan. And so we need to encourage healthy walking regularly. And so OKFM has just started. And like I said, we want to encourage people that, look, take this serious. It will help you.
Max Fugar is the general manager of Gubindum radio stations. In a related development, Prime FM News Director Jutunun Kollie has encouraged his fellow media colleagues to apportion their time to exercise. Journalist Kollie, who boasted of regular exercising, added that it helps to keep the body active amidst the lapses in controlling one's diet.
Journalists are human. We are human and we have time. You just have to create time for yourself. On a very serious note, the work is tedious. sometimes you don't have time for yourself, but you have to create a space for yourself, because that's the only way that you will remain healthy. We journalists, people consider us to impart knowledge, so we can't be the one who fall victims to these things. We have to exercise, we have to ensure that all of us exercise, and I'm very impressed with the attendance. Little did I know that the summer kind of sports complex we have been so crowded. We started at the city hall, and I saw the crowd. I said, wow, so your program was very successful, and I just want you to continue this program.
Now, what do you say to others who have been reneging to exercise?
You see, you got the food we eat. In Liberia, we don't consider our diet. So these exercises will help us. Like me, we journalists, sometimes I don't eat at all. I go to work because the tension, time caught up with me is 7 o'clock, it's 8 o'clock. I don't eat at all. But my regular exercises, when I drink water, I'm all right. So there's no mechanism put into place to control our diet. We eat a food that is not necessarily good for the body. But when you're taking your regular exercises, your checkup, it will help you a lot. Exercise is very important, and I call on everyone to do their regular exercises Saturdays and Sunday. Holidays, take advantage of exercise. It will be a very good thing for you.
Prime FM News Director Jutuno Kollie there in conversation with Local Yeager. The National Custom Brokers Association of Liberia has advanced a 7-count recommendation to President Weah's tariff reduction on basic commodities in the country. The group's recommendation, amongst other things, called for the cancellation of additional surcharges on local commodities like flour, sugar, and soft drink. Addressing a news conference over the weekend, the vice president of the association, James Heenan, said though President Weah's action is a drive to stimulate economic growth, but stressed that it requires technical processes.
The National Custom Brokers Association believes the surcharges is more of problem as to the tariff. When the surcharge, which is a regulation from the Ministry of Finance Development Planning, can be relaxed or cancelled by the president, there is no need for us to go temporarily with the tariff. Businesses will trade, and there will be a reduction in prices. Cantu talks about the president should suspend the 1705 of the Revenue Code of 2011 so that the Liberian Revenue Authority met up, because the issue of tariff is surrounded by legal gadgets. You maybe have to run to the legislature, you have to lobby, but all of these things that I just explained is regulations that the president can just come out and speak and relax. And when this is happening, you will notice that the importation that have dropped over the years will increase, and the prices of the commodity on the market will reduce significantly. Just to add, the surcharges that I just mentioned, that we believe as an institution is the more reason why commodity prices are high on the Liberian market, have come into effect just October 2017, when the President Sali were about at the verge of leaving power. We believe that if President Sali were able to operate the collection of taxes all of those years up to 2017 without these surcharges, we as a country can do away with these surcharges, and our businesses can trail, and we can collect our taxes that will continue to run the government. We support the president's agenda, but these are alternative means. We hope that this information can reach to him. We look forward to having audience with him to explain this in.
James Heenan is the vice president of the National Custom Brokers Association of Liberia. Let's now take the last batch of your text reaction coming into our Facebook page. This one says, good morning, OKFM and the peace-loving citizens of the Republic of Liberia. President Weah receiving a private jet at this time as president of the Republic of Liberia is questionable, because when he was in his era as a footballer, he didn't get such gift. And this one is from Sar Samin. This one says, good morning, OKFM and Liberia at large. I'm seriously disappointed in the action of our government officials, especially the president. The issue of private jet being purchased or not, if he dismisses argument that it was given to him by his friend from Burkina Faso, but he cannot call the person name, this is highly unfair and a high level of insincerity. When I hear people talking about the man has the country at heart, it pains me a lot. His behavior is on the contrary to what we expect of him. There are so many other things that the president is doing now that were not done by him during the time he was not president. It is on record that those projects he is doing now are his personal properties. He is like any other Liberian who is struggling to survive. He may have some good intentions, but difficult to implement. Thank you and have a blessed day. And this one is from Sidiki Afabo Kumar. And this one says, to God be the glory. I'm not a prophet, but in my spiritual mind, I can see the future of this country bright. God has turned his face to us, and because of this, there will be trial and temptation, but at the end we will prevail with a shining star, that this country will be called Small America again. Emmanuel Johnson writes, good morning, OKFM Newsnet. I want to use this medium to thank the President of Liberia, His Excellency George M. Weah, for the clarity of the jet plane bought in the country. Bibi Nico that's Nimlin writes, and this one says, good morning, OKFM Newsnet. Good morning to all peace-loving people of Abuse Quarter. OKFM, the prophecy by Apostle Solomon is welcoming. If God can do this for other nations, he can do it for Liberia. Amen, amen, and amen. Lawrence T. Tamba, UN Drive, Abuse Quarter, he writes, good morning, OKFM and the peace-loving people of our country, Mama Liberia. OKFM, this clarification of our president is different from the clarification from the Minister of Information. So who is telling us the truth? The minister said give, and the president said ask to use it at any time when he's traveling. OKFM, this clarification is far from the truth, meaning this government is lying. And this one is from Will Kilima, he writes. And that's it for your text reaction coming into our Facebook page. Let's now rejoin Augustine Kollie to bring us foreign developments.
At least 22 people, including 3 children, have been killed in a bus crash in Often, Uganda, police said. The bus hit a tractor that was driving with no lights at night and then a truck, police spokeswoman Emilian Kayima told the AFP News Agency. The incident happened on Friday night in Kayondo, about 220 kilometers north of the capital, Kampala. Uganda has among the world's worst road safety records. More than 9,500 people died in a road accident in the country between 2015 and 2017, according to official figures. People smugglers opened fire on a group of 100 migrants attempting to flee their clutches in Northern Libya, aid agency MSF reports. 25 injured survivors received the hospital treatment in the town of Bani Walid. MSF says they reported at least 15 people were killed and dozens more, mostly women, were left behind. Libya has become a key point on the route of sub-Saharan Africa migrants trying to reach Europe by sea. The country has been in turmoil since the fall of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. Power is dispersed between different militias and the 2 rival governments, allowing illegal activities to thrive. And it is North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's fixed with that a summit with U.S. President Donald Trump in Singapore should go ahead, state media say. This follows a surprise meeting on Saturday between Mr. Kim and the South Korean President Moon Jae-in. Mr. Trump had cancelled the 12th June summit citing North Korea's hostility, but on Saturday he said things were moving along with very nicely. Meanwhile, U.S. officials are reported to have traveled to North to carry out that summit. The American team, led by Song Kim, a former ambassador to South Korea, was due to hold talks with North Korean Vice President Minister Chol Song-hui on preparations for the summit, U.S. and South Korean media say. Those are the foreign developments.
Well, on that foreign note, this is how I would like to go home today on the program Newsnet. Before leaving you a recap of stories we closely followed. President Weah dismisses rumors that he purchased $30 million jet, says the plane in question belongs to his Burkinabe friend. 18,000 United States dollars withdrawn from Riverside County Development Fund to support Joseph Walker campaign, former Superintendent Matthew Daniel reveals. Popular Nigerian preacher Apostle Suleiman reveals in a prophecy that beginning October 2018, Liberia's finances will rise again. And away from Liberia, at least 22 people, including 3 children, have been killed in a bus crash in northern Uganda, police said. We would like to say many thanks to our news director, editor, correspondents, and many reporters for successfully packaging this edition. Augustine Kollie was here with a news bulletin and later brought to you foreign developments. Eddie Punin sat at controls and produced the sound. And on behalf of the entire team here at OK Communications Incorporated, I presented Olive Stevenson. Do have yourself a pleasant morning. And for more news on the station, you can log on to www.okfmlr.com. Thanks for listening and watching.